Before Rome ruled Europe, before China unified East Asia, before Britain built a global empire, there was Persia, an empire so vast it stretched from the Mediterranean Sea to the Indus River, an empire that ruled millions of people from dozens of cultures, an empire that mastered administration, tolerance, and power. This was the Ancient Persian Empire, the world's first true superpower. In this video, we'll explore how Persia rose from obscurity, how it ruled the ancient world, how it fought legendary wars, and how it finally fell. This is the story of the Persian Empire. Cyrus the Great and the birth of an empire. His name was Cyrus II, later known as Cyrus the Great. Born around 600 BCE, Cyrus was the grandson of the Median king. According to legend, his grandfather tried to have him killed because of a prophecy, but Cyrus survived, and he grew up to become a brilliant leader. In 550 BCE, Cyrus led a rebellion against the Medes. He defeated them and united the Persian and Median peoples. This was the birth of the Persian Empire. Next, Cyrus turned outward. He conquered Lydia and Asia Minor Babylon in Mesopotamia, territories in Central Asia. In 539 BCE, he captured Babylon without destroying it. Instead of terror, Cyrus showed mercy. He freed prisoners, allowed religious freedom, rebuilt temples. One of his policies was recorded on the Cyrus Cylinder, often called the first human rights document. Cyrus ruled through respect, not fear, and because of that, people accepted Persian rule. Cambyses and the conquest of Egypt. After Cyrus died in battle in 530 BCE, his son Cambyses II took the throne. Cambyses continued expansion. His greatest achievement was conquering Egypt in 525 BCE. For the first time, Persia ruled one of the oldest civilizations on earth. Cambyses became pharaoh and adopted Egyptian traditions, but his rule was unstable. He became paranoid and violent. In 522 BCE, Cambyses died mysteriously. The empire was in danger of collapse. Darius the Great, an imperial organization. Out of chaos rose Darius I, known as Darius the Great. Darius was not related directly to Cyrus. He seized power through a coup, but he proved to be one of history's greatest administrators. Darius reorganized the empire into provinces called satrapies. Each province had a satrap, governor, a military commander, a financial officer. This prevented corruption. He introduced a standardized tax system, a single currency, the daric, uniform laws, state-sponsored infrastructure. He built the Royal Road, stretching over 2,500 kilometers. It allowed messengers to cross the empire in days. Darius also expanded territory into India, Thrace, the Aegean coast. Under Darius, Persia reached its peak of power. Religion, culture, and daily life of the Persians. Persian society was deeply influenced by Zoroastrianism. Founded by the prophet Zoroaster, this religion taught one supreme God, Ahura Mazda, the struggle between good and evil moral responsibility. People were encouraged to live by good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Persia respected other religions. Jews, Egyptians, Babylonians, and Greeks all practiced freely. Daily life varied across the empire. Farmers worked land. Merchants traded goods. Artisans created jewelry, textiles, and weapons. Women in Persia had more rights than in many ancient societies. Some owned property and ran businesses. Persian capitals like Persepolis displayed wealth and order. Delegations from across the empire brought gifts to the king. It symbolized unity through diversity. The Persian Wars with Greece. Persia's greatest challenge came from Greece. Greek cities in Asia Minor rebelled in 499 BC. Athens supported them. Darius was furious. He vowed revenge. In 490 BCE, Persian forces invaded Greece. They were defeated at Marathon. 10 years later, Darius's son, Xerxes, launched a massive invasion. His army crossed the Hellespont on bridges of boats. Battles followed: Thermopylae, Artemisium, Salamis, Plataea. Although Persia won some victories, Greek naval power turned the tide. Xerxes retreated. Persia never fully recovered its dominance in the West. Decline of the Persian Empire. After King Xerxes I, Persia no longer had strong rulers. Many later kings were inexperienced, manipulated by court officials. More focused on luxury than leadership, palace intrigues became common. Assassinations, coups, and betrayals weakened stability. Some kings ruled for only months. Without firm leadership, the empire drifted. Early Persian armies were disciplined and organized. Later armies relied heavily on mercenaries, forced conscripts. Foreign troops. Loyalty declined, training weakened. Commanders competed for power. Meanwhile, enemies improved their tactics. Macedonia developed professional armies and new formations. Persia fell behind militarily. The empire slowly weakened. By the 4th century BCE, Persia was rich but fragile. Then came Alexander of Macedon. Alexander and the fall of Persia. Alexander the Great's defeat of the Persian Empire in the 4th century BCE was one of the most remarkable military achievements in history. Despite facing a much larger and wealthier enemy, Alexander succeeded through superior leadership, innovative tactics, and the internal weaknesses of Persia. His victory was not the result of chance, but of careful planning and bold execution. One of Alexander's greatest strengths was his military skill. He commanded a highly trained and disciplined army, especially the Macedonian phalanx and elite cavalry units. The phalanx, armed with long spears called Cyrus, formed a strong defensive wall, while Alexander's cavalry delivered powerful attacks on enemy flanks. This combination allowed him to break through Persian lines, even when greatly outnumbered. Alexander also showed exceptional leadership. He fought alongside his soldiers, shared their hardships, and inspired loyalty and confidence. His presence on the battlefield boosted morale and encouraged his troops to fight with determination. In contrast, Persian King Darius III often commanded from a distance and fled when battles turned against him, weakening Persian resistance. Another key factor in Alexander's success was Persia's internal weakness. By the time Alexander invaded in 334 BCE, the Persian Empire was suffering from corruption, political instability, and frequent rebellions. Many provincial governors were more concerned with protecting their own power than defending the empire. As a result, Persia lacked unity and coordination during the invasion. Alexander's strategic thinking also played a major role. He carefully chose his battles and used terrain to his advantage. At Granicus, Issus, and Gaugamela, he forced Persian armies to fight in narrow spaces where their superior numbers were useless. He also targeted Darius directly, causing panic among Persian troops and leading to their collapse. Finally, Alexander's policy of respecting local customs helped him secure conquered territories. He adopted Persian traditions, preserved local governments, and treated defeated peoples with respect. This reduced resistance and made it easier to maintain control over former Persian lands. Alexander marched into Persepolis and burned it. By 330 BCE, the empire had collapsed, and Darius III was killed by his own men. 200 years of Persian rule ended. The Persian legacy, although the empire fell, Persia's influence survived. Persian ideas shaped Roman administration, Islamic governance, modern bureaucracy concepts like provincial government, postal systems, religious tolerance, and legal standardization, all came from Persia. Even today, Iran preserves Persian language and culture. The empire lives on through history. The Persian Empire was not just built by armies. It was built by wisdom, organization, respect, vision. It showed the world that diversity could be governed under one system, that power could coexist with justice, that empires could be more than conquest. Persia was the blueprint of civilization. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comment below. Which empire should we explore next? Thanks for watching. See you in the next journey through time.